you might want to say a few words.
Yes, it's great to see so many people here. Thank you so much. And wonderful food and great pieces of art that we really want to bid on here. We've got, this is going to be open until 6:30. So, and you can just bid, just to make the person upset before, just add $5, right? And then you just take it away from them. That's it. That's how it works. And I wanted to start off by, of course, introducing Matt as our new director here at the Friends of Sharon Arts. So thank you so much for all you've done, and Cassandra for putting together this event, and everything else who's worked very, very hard to put this together. So thank you all. A round of applause. And you know, we're going to do a little more formal ceremony and unveiling of some plaques that we have in a little bit. So I'm just a little teaser for that. That's going to happen in just a little bit, but I want people to mingle around. It's really good that we want to get some interesting competition happening over here. And it's great to hear more stories about Kitty. Again, as we go on here, there's an actual video also in the other room, and you'll see pieces of art that Kitty has done. So there's a basic gallery in the room right in here, the carousel room. So feel free to walk in there. It looks like there's a movie going on, but it's basically a movie video. It'll show you some of the old, the Sharon Art Studio, where people had to stand in line to go into classes, and we don't have to do that anymore, fortunately. But you'll get a sense of what that was like. So feel free to go into that room as well. And we still got lots of food and drink, right?
Yeah.
Lots. All right. Wonderful. Okay, fantastic. And again, I want to, of course, thank SF Park and Rec, again, the Friends of the Sharon Arts. It's a nonprofit, and SF Park and Rec running the Sharon Art Studio. The partnership is what it's all about. And so we'll talk about that and do a little bit of formal very soon. But I want to get people talking and doing some bidding, and we'll get right back to it. What's that? Oh yeah, and you can actually go down and see the new kiln as well. You go downstairs and they're brand new, and walk right in there and you'll see what they look like. So, do we have any other comments? Okay, so we'll be back again in just a few minutes. Stick around. We'll be okay.
I didn't know Kitty personally, but I know a lot of her work. I know a lot of the lives she touched. I know a lot of the culture that she helped build here, and that's what we do today. So that's why we're here, and that's why we're happy to have the closest family to continue that legacy. And this is a really event about all of you, because you're the ones that make all our jobs really richer. I just had a quote that I found the other day, and I thought would be interesting to open the evening, and it's from William Faulkner. And he said, people perform and engender so much more than they can or have to bear. That's how people find out that they can bear anything. The artist's voice doesn't need to be the sole record of man. It can be one of the props, one of the pillars to help him endure and prevail. And I think everybody in this room is a testament to that spirit. So with that said, I just want everybody to enjoy themselves tonight. And the silent auction is going to go to about 6:30. You don't have to be present in order to win. And we'll be doing the unveiling of our kiln dedication in a little while. And I did want to just introduce a couple of special people. Kitty McInerney got some.
We are Kitty and Jim's children, and I wanted to thank you all for being here. And a special thank you to everyone with the Friends, the board, who has helped to bring this event together. It came together very quickly, and we're very happy that it did come together. So thank you all very much, and have a great time this evening.
Just want to echo my sister's statements here. say thank you all very much to those that have traveled far and wide, those who just stumbled down the street. Thank you so much for coming. Beautiful. Just want to say that, you know, my parents are no longer here, but they are here through you guys. The fact that everybody in this room, whether you knew them or not, is here now is just a true testament to how the legacy is living on. So thank you very much.
To use this opportunity to talk about the partnership, SF Park and Rec. And before I get into that, I just wanted to maybe just get a show of hands of those that are ceramic instructors. Let's see your hands out. Let's give them an applause. Those who are beginning. Your hands up, and then any of the other instructors, people who have taught here at the Sharon Arts Studio, please raise your hand. And I know it's going to be hard. Thank you so much. And then I also want to just have the board, the friends of the Sharon Arts. We've been through ups and downs, but I want you guys to come up here and just recognize Claudia and let's get everybody up here. Let's get all everybody. Donna. Toddy. Where's my brain? Yeah, let's get all the board up. Everybody? Is everybody here? Judy? Is Judy here?
Judy's here.
Tony?
Judy went home.
Okay, let's hear a round of applause. This is our board. Working very, very hard. Just the smiling figurehead there doing all the real work at the show. So thank you so much. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for all of what you've done. And now I want to, if you're an instructor, that's right. So I also want to, if you've actually learned, if you were a student here at the Sharon Arts Studio, could you raise your hand? And, all right, wonderful. Fantastic. So you're taking advantage of that as well. Okay, and now what I want to do now is, you know, the partnership. So the Friends of the Sharon Arts is also about the partnerships. And we mentioned earlier, you heard that we had money to purchase one kiln, but we did not have the money to do the other half. And that was where SF Park and Rec stood up to the plate, and they were able to get the funds together for us to purchase a second kiln. But it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. It's the classes that are done here, run by SF Park and Rec and Sharon Arts Studio, Friends of the Sharon Arts Studio, but SF Park and Rec, running the facilities. There's a lot that they're doing to help us keep the activity that happens here going. So I want to introduce Claudia from SF Park and Rec to say a few words.
Let me see if I can find my 3-page speech. No, don't have it. My name's Claudia Reinhardt. I'm the supervisor for Rec and Park, and I supervise Donna DeTuris. She's new here. Most of you have met her by now. Prior to her was Elena Norberg Brown, and she got promoted, so she's now my colleague at my same level, so congratulations to her, and she's doing great. So I wanted to say, first of all, I wanted to thank the people who organized this party. It's wonderful, and I think it was the FOSIS people, Matt, you and your people on the board. Excellent job, wonderful party, thank you. I like going to parties. Most of you know the Sharon Arts Studio really well, so you know that there's always food. Anytime you come around here, there's always food and a party. It's wonderful. It's part of the environment and the culture that they've created. It's a very friendly, warm, loving place to be, and that helps create art and foster friendships and all that. It's wonderful. So the cultural division is what I do as a supervisor, and I supervise this place and the Golden Gate Park Senior Center. And the Golden Gate Park Senior Center is how I know Kitty. So Kitty would come there once a week and teach the seniors ceramics, and she was very creative and fostered their creativity. We had one of her students would make buildings, and she just was constantly learning. People were learning constantly. It wasn't just making slip things and molds and stuff. It was very high-tech stuff, and she was a great teacher. And they all loved her, and they missed her a lot. Anyway, she was a good person. Too much wine. So, anyway, what was I going to talk about?
A partnership, or whatever you like.
You can edit this, right? I wanted to make a comment about the fact that when anytime you do any kind of a job, having the proper tools makes all the difference in the world. So ever since I started supervising this place, it was the kiln's broken, this isn't working, the door's coming off. So now we have 2 brand new kilns. I've been told by the people who use them that they are absolutely wonderful and working great. One needs a little tweaking, but the point is that moving forward, it's going to really make things wonderful as artists to work with those kilns. So I really appreciate having those on board and don't have to hear about them anymore. So you're going to unveil the plaques pretty soon?
Doing that.
All right, well, thank you for inviting me. I've had a wonderful time, and congratulations, and keep raising money, because we need to keep raising money in this economy, and thank you for all your donations and all your support. Thank you.
I just want to also recognize Elena. She just walked in. Come on up and say something real brief. I'm just going to put you on the spot as well, but she also did a tremendous amount of work in assisting us and helping us through at the Friends of the Sharon Arts during our transition and helping us through training a new director and keeping the facility running. And I know that she had other things. Now you're here, so I want to take advantage of having you here, and right after this we'll do our little unveiling of the plaques that we'll be putting on the kiln. But I thought maybe you might want to say a word or two.
Thank you, Dan. I'm glad I didn't miss this part of it because this is really exciting. I haven't seen the plaques yet, and I know that's a very important part of why we're here today is because these kilns were, they're here because of what this family has done for the studio and what the legacy of what has happened with the funds that were raised for this studio in memory of Kitty is so valuable to Sharon Art Studio, and the ceramics program is just incredible, and it's wonderful that we're able to keep it going. So I'm really happy to see everybody here, and I was happy to be a part of it and help the kilns get into the building, and I'm happy to see all of you. So thank you for coming.
All right, I caught you when you came in. I just had to do a little cleanup. I got a little cake here, but that was kind of the unveiling of the cake on my suits. That was how it was done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is Matt this is going to be the Vanna White he mentioned, and so he's going to unveil, and then I'm going to read what the plaque says on the plaque. So, okay, here it is, and it says, "This kiln, installed December 2013, is a combined purchase between the Friends of the Sharon Art Studio, FOSAS, and San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department. Through the combined talent resources, may warmth and wellness be created with each use." September 20th, 2014. Woo! That's the second. Yeah. Okay, so that's the second. And then this one, we've just been oh yeah, you shouldn't be holding. I should be holding. I should be reading. Okay. I got the Vanna White thing wrong. You were pointing to. Okay. Okay. This kiln was purchased by the Friends of the Sharon Art Studio, FOSAS, in the spring of 2014 through a fund enriched by the generous support of the Childs and McInerney family, our vibrant community and creative contributors. May warmth and wellness be created with each use. September 20th, 2014. Going down there with the knitting, it's hot and heavy. I can see the furiousness of the pen writing and everyone deciding which one they want. I know everyone's waiting for the last minute and just jump in there, right? And it's usually in the last 5 minutes or so where it gets really interesting. And you might be taking one of these home, which is going to be fantastic to see that in your living room, proudly presented in front of everyone who comes into your abode. So we are now at the 1 hour mark, so you only have 1 hour, and then that is it. We close this out, and whoever it is now, I think Cassandra is going to grab all these at exactly 5:30. How does that work? Do you just slap her pins? Is it like very aggressive, or you want to say what happens at 6:30? How does that?
Okay, so at 6:30 I'll be collecting all of the forms, and whoever has the highest bid will receive the item. And I'll come back after going away for a minute to see who wins, and we'll make the announcement. And then if you want, you can pay for the item tonight and take it home with you. And that's what happens.
All right, thanks. That was very good. I actually didn't know. Oh, you can pay by credit card as well. And if you just want to just give to the actual kiln fund itself in general, we have a little jar there that people have actually, believe it or not, I wanted to give a little thermometer and mention. I want Matt actually to give us an idea. We actually had a $2,000 check that was just signed and added to the bowl today. So let's hear for that. Forte. So we have already, just to explain, the kiln fund was down to 0 as we purchased the new kilns, and now it is going back up with the donations that have happened. Actually, even prior to this event, we've had people give us checks, and again, it's going into the Kitty Kiln Fund that will be something that we, when this kiln, might have some problems 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, we'll have a way in which we can replenish that. And it might be a little bit of time from now, but it's certainly good for us all to think about keeping the memory alive. So thank you, Matt, for giving us at least a rundown. I mean, I don't know, there might have been other donations between now and then, but give us, see what we work.
I do want to acknowledge that in the process of this event being planned, we received a very generous grant fund from the Child's Family Fund of $500. So we publicly want to thank you for helping us. Running, and estimation is close to 4,000 at this point, but we haven't tabulated the proceeds for the auction or this evening, so I'm very inspired to see everybody come together with all your resources. So thank you very much.
Already 4,000, and these are, how much are the kilns normally? The people, what was the amount? It was $19,000. To purchase, so if you go down there, you see that. Was that how much it was?
40, close to 50,000.
Do we hear 50,000? That's a different kind of auction. 70. Okay. So they're very expensive. How about that? We will say that they're very, very expensive, and we appreciate the donations that are going to the Kiln Fund to keep the memory going. It's keeping the memory going. It's keeping this idea, this notion of replenishment of the kiln, so that we can keep the ceramics and keep all the wonderful things, all the beautiful art that comes out of that. So it's symbolically fantastic, and it's amazing. We weren't really thinking that it was going to be that even prior to our silent auction here, so that's fantastic. So they are very expensive. There are 2 of them. So we actually have 2 brand new ones. So, and I don't know if the family wants to say anything else, or are you done with that? You guys want to say? Okay. All right. This is a joint beer, so it's no more needs to be said there. But so now, what I wanted to do now is let everyone know again there's 1 hour left, and I wanted to have Connie, our vice president of the Friends of the Sharon Art Board, to come up and introduce, say a couple words, and let's hear a round of applause. Connie.
You know this building burned down in
No.
Yeah. Some of you did. I was thinking about that today on the way here. We opened, I mean, we didn't, I didn't, but that Sharon studio, I think, started around 1965, 66, 67, we're not really sure, sometime in that hippy-dippy time. With Record Park's support, Fred Reed, who went on to become the head of the cultural division. And then we burned down. I started taking classes here in the early 70s, and we were moved over to the Fleischer pool building out near the zoo. And it was there that a lot of the staff were hired because the city wanted to expand the program, and it got involved with several of the teachers to get that done. And I think that's when you came on, Lenny, too. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lenny Price, and also Gail Ritchie, and also Patty McKay, and of course Kitty, who at that point was Kitty Childs. I remember meeting her because I was over there. I was a consignment teacher, one of the first ones who taught classes and was paid through the previous nonprofit. And I remember Kitty telling me that she just recently graduated from San Francisco State and she had a boyfriend. And we talked about that. That was Jim McInerney. And so then they got married, and you know, we all know the rest. It's a wonderful history. And then we came back, we went after the Fleischer, they kicked us out of there for wastewater management, but they gave us some money, and that money then became the money to restore this building. And we were also at the Junior Museum for, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years. And then we finally came back here in 1985, and have been back here ever since. And we're still working with a nonprofit, a different one, Process, which has been in existence since the early 1990s. And Kitty was the first of the staff to represent the staff at the Process meetings. She went every month to those meetings until she became too ill to do that. So a long history with Kitty, a long history with the building and with the many wonderful teachers. Virginia was at the Fleischer Pool building also. Lynn is here, and she started working, as she said, she took her first class at Fleischer and then was at the Junior Museum. So, and other people, KK's around here somewhere, and some other staff. I'm sorry if I don't mention everybody who's here. I know we're talking about Olivia as a baby being here at the studio, which was lots of fun. But the person that we want to hear from now is Lenny, because he's a godparent of both the kids.
No.
No, just Eileen. Okay. And one of Kitty's many, many close friends who's going to share a little bit, and maybe some other people will want to also. I know it's hard because we all miss her so much, but it's also lovely to remember these wonderful people who have enriched our lives. So, Lenny?
I never thought about where we were before. That at Fleischer, I remember that the shelves that handled all the bisque with those large shelves, there were only about 10 boxes in those shelves, and that's all the shelves that we used at that studio. It was very small. We had, I think, a maximum of 50 students, and now today we have over 180, I believe. We have about 185 students for each class. So I did want to say a little bit about Kitty and my experiences way back then, and also more recently. And I became very close to the two individuals over time. First, before I do that, I want to thank the Childs family, in particular John, who I think was the original originator of the bequest to the studio, to honor the memory of their beloved sister and our beloved colleague, and above all, our very dear friend, Kitty. Not only a friend to the staff, but also she became very friendly with many students. While we celebrate and inaugurate 2 new kilns, the real celebration is the memory of these 2 individuals, both Kitty and Jim, who both love the studio. Kitty, of course, for those who didn't know, who worked as an assistant first, then was a very influential instructor here for many years. And Jim, I recall, was very involved in the early days of FOSAS and creating it. He and I used to take long strolls together during many years, and I remember him telling me stories about all the politics that went on. It was very, very interesting. Jim and Kitty welcomed me shortly after I arrived to San Francisco in the late 70s. I had discovered the studio, which was at Fleischacker at the time, and I vividly recall that not long after the two of them were married, they had a studio potluck at the Lander Street apartment in Noe Valley, where I first met Jim. And I hit it off right away with Jim, who could make anybody feel so at home with his wit and charm. Later on in our relationship, he did something which was incredible to me. He asked me to be Eileen's godfather. Not long ago, Eileen asked me, "Lenny, why did he pick you?" And I told her I wasn't sure, but then again, Jim did have a great sense of humor. He constantly joked around with his sly wit. He would always be the life of the party. And after a bit of wine, his acoustic guitar would come out and he'd sing to us in that wonderful sonorous voice of his. Later, I had the pleasure of playing music with him, Jim, Virginia's husband Ed, and of course Brant Larson. Whereas Jim was somewhat boisterous and you could always hear his voice over any other person at the party, Kitty was very low-key, very quiet, one could say reserved. She was an absolutely devoted teacher and a wonderful artist. I remember how perfect she would make casseroles, and I learned to make lids that actually fit when I took a class with her. I also learned how to make cut porcelain so thin that light could pass through it, and in my office I have lampshades that were made by the process that she taught me. While very modest, she had an incredibly strong character. One could certainly say, I think Teddy Roosevelt said this, that she walked softly but carried a big stick. He didn't say it about Kitty. That is, just by virtue of a quiet, take-charge personality, she really was the studio leader, the mother figure who always was there to get things done. Just as now, our staff meetings could be boisterous affairs back then, filled with different, passionate opinions and disagreements. It was usually Kitty who either came up with a winning compromise or with one look that quieted dissidence, which usually was me. Kitty took care of us, and she took care of business all the time. You can see that in her slides. She's always involved in everything we were doing back then. And while she created many beautiful pieces of art, such as her wonderful Bill Clinton piece over there, hers and Jim's most beautiful creations, of course, are her two wonderful children, Eileen and Liam. Both Kitty and Jim would be so pleased to see you now working so hard and living happily with your spouses. They would also have absolutely adored your wonderful spouses, Jen and Michael. When Jim told me that John and the family were making this generous donation and asked what we needed, I said we'd be needing to replace the old kiln, which was teetering even back then. Kilns were more expensive then, so the idea of a Kitty kiln fund came up. I told him I'd make sure we'd keep the old kiln burning as long as possible, but that it could fall apart any time, either in a year or in 10 years, and I didn't know which. The gift grew over the years and allowed us to not purchase one kiln, but to purchase one kiln plus half of the other, and the city generously donated the remaining funds to purchase that second kiln. These two brand new kilns will burn brightly for many years to come. They're a fitting legacy for Kitty. May the thousands and thousands of pieces that emerge from them be infused with the spirit, the beauty, and serenity that Kitty gave to those of us who knew her. Thank you.